The academy floated like a jewel among the stars, its towers reaching toward the heavens as if they tried to touch the infinite. Ships of all shapes and sizes glided around it, docking at gleaming platforms. The place was alive with chatter in countless languages, some with musical notes that could make even stone walls seem to hum. Students from every corner of the galaxy walked its polished corridors, carrying books, devices, and experimental gadgets that sparkled with energy. They were brilliant, proud, and certain of their own superiority. In the midst of all this grandeur, a human quietly moved through the halls, unnoticed and often ignored. He was a janitor, dressed in simple gray overalls, with a mop in one hand and a small toolkit in the other. His face was plain, his hair ordinary, and his presence barely registered among the brilliant minds of the academy. Students stepped around him without a glance. Professors ignored his quiet greetings, and alien sentries only raised an eyebrow before returning to their duties. He moved from room to room, sweeping, fixing minor malfunctions, and ensuring everything remained clean and orderly. His work was precise, silent, and essential, yet invisible. Despite his invisibility, the human was not ordinary. He moved with a calm efficiency that suggested years of discipline and experience. His eyes scanned each room carefully, noticing details that most overlooked. A loose wire, a faint crack in the floor, a device that hummed slightly off-key. He never drew attention to himself. In fact, he often smiled faintly when a student tried to appear busy near him, sensing their nervous energy and gently avoiding confrontation. No one knew his name, and few bothered to ask. He was just the janitor, nothing more. Some students whispered about him. "Do you think he really is human?" one would ask. "He fixes machines faster than the repair drones," another would reply. But these whispers rarely lasted. Most students were too focused on their studies, experiments, and competitions to pay attention to the quiet human who moved among them. Even the faculty, who prided themselves on noticing everything, largely overlooked him. On one ordinary morning, the human walked into the science wing with his mop and toolkit. The hall was filled with students practicing their experiments, levitating objects, creating holographic models, and running chemical simulations. He moved along the edges of the room, careful not to disturb anyone but always observing. He noticed a device sparking faintly, its energy flow unstable. Without hesitation, he stepped forward and adjusted the device, reconnecting a wire and stabilizing the current. The students barely looked up, some noticing only a flicker of movement out of the corner of their eyes. As he finished his work, a student accidentally bumped into him. The human looked down, smiling politely, and that's when the student saw it. A faint mark on the side of the janitor's neck, partially hidden by his collar. It glowed very slightly, almost like a heartbeat in light. The student froze, unsure of what to make of it. The mark was not like anything humans normally had. It shimmered in subtle patterns, as if alive. The student's curiosity overcame hesitation, and he leaned closer, whispering a question. "What? What is that?" The human's smile widened slightly, though he said nothing. He simply adjusted his collar and continued walking, his movements calm and deliberate. The student blinked, and when he looked again, the human had already disappeared around the corner, blending effortlessly into the background. The mark, however, lingered in the student's mind, like a puzzle he could not solve. Word of the mark spread slowly, first among a few curious students, then among small groups who observed the janitor in secret. "Did you see it?" they whispered in corners. "There's a glowing pattern on his neck. What could it mean?" But even as questions arose, no one approached him directly. The janitor seemed to sense when he was being watched, and he moved with such precision that he never revealed more than small hints. Meanwhile, the human continued his duties, unnoticed yet crucial. He repaired broken equipment without a word, cleaned laboratories, and even organized the library sections that had been neglected for weeks. When a rare plant in the Academy's greenhouse began to wither due to a malfunction in the watering system, he quietly adjusted the flow, ensuring the delicate life survived. Students who walked past noticed the plants thriving, but had no idea who had cared for them. Despite his invisibility, there were moments when the human's skill could not go unnoticed. During a practical test in the engineering hall, a group of students struggled to stabilize a hovering platform. Sparks flew, the platform wobbled, and panic began to rise. The janitor moved silently to the corner, observing their actions. With a few calm adjustments, tweaking a circuit here, tightening a joint there, the platform stabilized perfectly. The students stared in disbelief. "How? Who did that?" one whispered, glancing around. The human had returned to his work, bending over a mop bucket, his actions unnoticed as he whistled a quiet tune. The academy itself seemed to have a pulse, a rhythm that the human understood instinctively. He could move through it without drawing attention, always aware of the flow of students, the pattern of lectures, and the unseen energy of experiments in progress. His abilities were subtle but remarkable. He understood alien technology instinctively, could read the patterns of complex systems, and seemed to anticipate problems before they arose. Yet he never boasted, never interfered unnecessarily, and always allowed the academy to function as if by itself. On one quiet evening, after the last lecture had ended and most students had returned to their quarters, the human walked through the dormitory halls. A small group of aliens had left their rooms unlocked, leaving devices unattended. He noticed a machine sparking dangerously and moved to adjust it. As he worked, one young alien peeked from behind a door. The janitor did not startle or react. He worked calmly, his hands precise and steady. The mark on his neck glimmered faintly in the dim light, and the alien gasped softly, realizing that there was something extraordinary about this human. The next morning, the academy was abuzz. Rumors of the mark, of the janitor's abilities, and of mysterious interventions spread like wildfire among students. Some claimed he was a lost experiment. Others whispered that humans had hidden powers no one truly understood. Even some junior faculty began to notice patterns. Whenever a critical problem arose, it seemed to vanish without explanation, always in areas where the janitor had been present. Despite the growing curiosity, the human remained calm, observing without engaging. He had no desire for recognition, no need for praise. His purpose was simple: to maintain balance, ensure the academy functioned smoothly, and protect life and knowledge within its walls. He understood that the galaxy often underestimated humans, considering them weak or simple. Yet he also knew that human resilience, adaptability, and ingenuity could accomplish what others thought impossible. As the days passed, the mark on his neck remained a subtle enigma. Some students tried to approach him, asking questions they were too nervous to voice clearly. The human would offer a polite nod or a faint smile, never revealing more than necessary. Occasionally, he would glance at the mark himself, a silent acknowledgement of a past he rarely spoke of. It was a reminder of a mission long ago, of secrets humans carried, and of the quiet strength that lived within him. One afternoon, a particularly bold student attempted to follow the janitor through the halls. The human noticed immediately, adjusting his pace so the student could not close the distance. Eventually, the student gave up, frustrated but curious. The janitor continued, never breaking stride, cleaning, repairing, and observing. He knew the galaxy often overlooked what it could not understand, and he had learned that invisibility could be a powerful tool. In the Academy's library, the human paused for a moment. Shelves towered above him, filled with texts from countless civilizations. He ran a hand along the spine of a human book, a simple gesture, yet one that connected him to the past. The mark on his neck shimmered faintly as he passed, unnoticed by the few late-night students studying in quiet corners. The human had learned to survive, to thrive, and to protect knowledge in ways the galaxy could never predict. By the end of Part 1, the stage was set. The Academy continued its daily rhythm, brilliant and bustling, unaware that a quiet human janitor held within him a potential that could challenge the expectations of the galaxy. His mark was a mystery, a signal of abilities that even the most advanced aliens could not comprehend. Students whispered, curiosity grew, and the first hints of recognition began to ripple through the corridors. Yet the human remained humble, patient, and observant, a silent guardian among those who believed they were the stars of the Academy. No one knew his full story, and perhaps they never would. But one thing was certain: the human janitor was far more than he seemed, and the mark on his neck was the first sign that the galaxy had underestimated humanity in ways it would soon regret.